Hi everyone, this is Spuggiehawk for Arizona Bay News. Well, I just had a couple of interesting days. 2 days ago I noticed that the light on my router was flashing like crazy, showing that my local file and web server was busy with a connection. It happens every now and again, so I didn't think much of it, until I realised just how much effect it was having on my normal internet connection. I was about to investigate when it stopped. I guessed whatever it was, it had passed, so I turned back to the YouTube video I was watching. Within 2 minutes, the video was stuttering. I glanced back at the router and it was at it again. So, I opened up a terminal and tried to connect to my server with a secure shell. I use Linux for everything. Currently Mint for desktops and Ubuntu for servers. My shell wouldn't connect, and after a short time, it timed out. That wasn't a good sign. So I dug out a keyboard and attached a monitor to the server and logged on locally. First thing I checked was the processors. It seemed that Apache was probably the busiest one, but nothing unusual. So I checked the Apache log to see what was being requested, and apparently it was nothing. Certainly no big files or lots of accesses. Perhaps it was Tomcat instead. Nope, nothing to see here. Move along. Nothing on my Tom-E server, Jabber, the media server. Running out of things it could be. I updated the firewall settings on my router to remove access to all services, but the connection kept going. So I had a look at the network connections. It was port 80 that was active. Well, I didn't like what was going on, so I brought down the Ethernet link, and that stopped it. Looking back at the network connection information, I could see that it was a specific IP address that was involved. I quickly checked online and found this was a connection from a Chinese cloud provider. Nice and anonymous, and effectively untraceable. Still, I'd killed their connection, so I brought the Ethernet back up. And within 30 seconds it was off again, even with my router firewall in place. Another look at the network to see if it was the same source, but it wasn't, it was a different IP address. Okay, Ethernet down again, check the IP. It's a different source, but it's under the Chinese service provider. I detect a common thread. But how did they reconnect so quickly? And through a firewall? There are plenty of tools to grab the data and analyze it to get to the bottom of this, but I needed my server up and running without this hassle because I'd got some actual work to be doing. So to quickly identify what was going on, I thought I'd bring the Ethernet back up and stop the servers one at a time to see what interrupted the activity. One after another, I shut down the servers, but still the connection continued to flicker. Checking the processes again, I noticed there was still an Apache process active. Hold on. /etc//ssh/Apache. That's not right. There shouldn't be an executable in that directory. I killed the process, and the activity stopped. So I wonder what that file is doing in... Hold on. The light's flickering again. Check the process list, and the same file is up and running again. Okay, well I'd found the culprit, so I killed the process and removed its read, write, and executable privileges. It couldn't start again then. The reason it could get through my firewall is because it wasn't receiving on port 80. It was sending. That's definitely something I didn't install, so I've definitely been hacked. That's quite depressing. I have to admit that I've been too casual and confident, and, okay, perhaps I'll admit it, occasionally a little bit smug about my Linux setup for too long. That server's been up and running with very little downtime for about 12 years. Fantastically reliable, but not very hygienic from a data standpoint. Old accounts from previous employees, some ports to open servers I don't really use, lots of clutter, and clearly not enough security precautions. Several very important lessons learned. The key priority is to get the server disinfected and running again as quickly as possible. But I need to know what that was and how it got there. I thought I had checked rootkit installed, but I didn't. I didn't want to install it using the package manager, because that might have been compromised and pointing to a fake version. A bit paranoid perhaps, but I didn't know if I was dealing with the consequences of a script kiddie or a much more sophisticated hacker. So I downloaded the check rootkit from the Git repository and built it, from source, and then ran it to see what I could find. It found the XOR DDoS Trojan and some subsidiary files, like the one in the cron directory to keep it restarting. XOR DDoS is quite a nasty one. It's got root access and things. There are two likely vectors on my server. That's ways it could have got there. Either a weak password for an old account or an Apache vulnerability. Well, I keep Apache up to date and reasonably well protected, so it's more likely the password. I know that one of my old employees had a thing for using swear words as his password, so that's all the weakness that's required. Because this Trojan has root capability, I don't have the time, patience or expertise to ensure that I've tracked down every possible thing it could have done to my system. So I went for a scorched earth approach. A complete backup of data files, not executables, and then a complete rebuild of Ubuntu 16.04, starting with a clean formatted disk. My server is now up and running again. Only I have a login account. Secure Shell is done with key pairs instead of passwords, and it's only open to the local network. The only service allowing external access is Apache, and that's tracked, logged, monitored and protected. I'll be checking the system frequently to start with, and then regularly after that. Like almost all problems like this wasn't an operating system problem. This was because I was lazy, and I let my guard down, and it's not going to happen again in a hurry. Speak to you soon. This was Spuggiehawk for Arizona Bay News.